Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today it's going to be a best of 5 for your Sunday series between Solar and Reynor here on Simulacrum for game number 1. Top left-hand corner, it is the red Zerg player. He is Korean, his name is Solar. And in the bottom right, it is our young 18-year-old Zerg player, Reynor. He is green, and he hails from Italy. Yes, Reynor is from Italy. Clem is from France. I get them mixed up sometimes because they are both so excellent and 18 years old. And yes, younger players just kind of all look the same to me because I am very old at this point. All right, man. So Reynor, Reynor is a good example of how much the rest of the world is catching up to Korea as far as StarCraft 2 goes. The region lock. I kind of feel like it did its purpose, right? It was intended to help people not from Korea become competitive with the Korean scene. And yeah, I feel like Reynor is a better Zerg player than anybody from Korea at this point. And we'll see if he can prove it here against Solar from the Stay-at-Home Story Cup, which happened earlier this year. And all right, so let's go ahead and see. Early game here for ZVZ is very important, but yeah, they're just basically doing the same thing here. Nothing too crazy. Nobody going super duper aggressive. Nobody with a pool first play. And we'll have to wait and see. I hope one of these games gets to the Lurker Hydra Viper stage, because that is my favorite stage. My favorite stage of ZVZ, but it is very, very rare that we get to see that. So hopefully we will see it, but I cannot promise you anything. Yeah, this is from the quarterfinals of the Stay-at-Home Story Cup number 1 that was held earlier this year. Both players' overlords are scouting out here. I mean, again, there's not much to say about what's happening. How many lings do we make now that the pool is done? And the answer is none. Like, they blindly make 0 lings to start this thing out. They both have a pretty good idea of what the other player is doing based on how far the creep has spread out here, right? You know that wasn't a hatch play. It was not a pool first based on the timing. So you don't have to worry about lings coming to kill you, so you don't make any lings yet. This is, I mean, a 0 ling opener for both these players. We'll see if they go roaches. We'll see if somebody goes for a baneling nest. Reynor did actually go for level 1 ground carapace, which means his Zerglings will be able to survive a baneling hit if he takes one. Solar actually going third base at 240. What a madman. What an absolute madman that he's going for a third base at 230. What does it think this is? A ZVP? He has no other tech. He's starting an evolution chamber of his own to wall off his natural base a little bit, but he has nothing to protect his third base whatsoever. Couple lings moving in. I don't see anybody ling flooding at this stage. It definitely seems like Reynor is going to make a couple pairs for a total of 4. A couple queens defending here. He's not going for a third base. Is he? This feels ling floody. This feels like he's going to go for a +1 carapace ling flood, which again is easy to defend if you have a baneling nest if you are the opposing Zerg player rather. But if there's the +1 carapace, then suddenly the lings aren't dying to your banelings. They survive with like 1 HP. So it's not like they're incredible, but they still are alive and they can still kill stuff, and that's kind of a big deal. Yeah, man, no third base. Solar's got to be worried about, oh, the lings get the run by. One Zergling comes cruising in and does end up seeing the evolution chamber that is researching, and no baneling nest and no roach warren. Great scout out of Solar there. That was really, really well played by him. So he is definitely preparing. I think he knows what this is. I think he's preparing for a ling flood with +1 carapace. He recognized the lack of higher tech. This ling is still here. Still here. So we got some defensive lings here from Solar. He's getting his own +1 carapace. He's not actually getting a baneling nest. I wonder if he feels like that wouldn't benefit him as much. Third base is going, I mean, it's done, whereas Reynor's third base is coming up now. I wonder if Reynor knows he got scouted. And he's like, all right, well, I was going to do that. Well, let's get a lair. Let's go ahead and stay home a little bit here. Try to keep that third base alive. We don't want these lings to come across the map and kill it, so I need to be able to defend it in some way. Roach Warren is coming up for Solar, which does not get scouted as there are too many queens out. The Overlord can't get that scouting information. And Reynor going for it, man. He's cruising across the map with his Zerglings. Trying to see what he can do, but man, good positioning here by Solar. He saw it coming. So, I mean, ZVZ is the hardest matchup to sneak an attack across the map with because Overlords can be everywhere in the early game. Nothing can kill them except for queens, and they're not moving out into the middle of the map because their creep spread is not there yet. Not until mutas come out do you really have to worry about losing your overlords and losing that vision. It's just, it is so hard at this level of StarCraft to get caught by surprise. It's fantastic. Both players moving into roach production now. The +1 missile attack is now on the way from Reynor, so his roaches will have better upgrades than Solar's when the time comes. But again, the problem with ZVZ is sometimes games can end just to a well-timed Ling Flood that comes at a time you're not expecting it. And even if you see it coming, Zerglings are crossing the map really, really fast. So he's going to engage out here, which Reynor doesn't want to do. Both players do have the +1 ground carapace. Link should maybe jump on this. Yeah, Reynor. He's going to get jumped on his third base here. That is bad news bears for him. He's trying to cruise across the map. Roaches and Lings are out. His third base is going to go down. He can't save it. More Lings and Roaches, and now Ravagers joining the party. For Solar, suddenly it is 58 to 54 army supply. Solar has a bigger one, and Reynor lost his third base. This is massive for Solar. This is so big for the Korean Zerg player. Yeah, third base down. His third base is up. If just for larva production, this is huge right now. He's also mining from it, which gives him a bit of an edge when it comes to income. As we can see, actually, Reynor has better income. How the... sure. I guess Reynor does have a couple more workers, but... He has more gas coming in? Yeah, he's got more gas coming in. That's part of what it is. Alright, fine. Everything is totally cool. Lings going in there. Not a good idea. That's a lot of roaches. Ravagers getting some hits, but just too many roaches in general. Going to get on out of there. The Ling engagements in the middle. One of the Ravagers does go down for Solar there. We see him explode. 26 Lings in production. 30 Lings in production from Solar right now. He is making so many Zerglings to complement this condition. He's trying to get in here. Terrible positioning right now. I really think for Solar, he does back out. If you have Zerglings, you want to surround these roaches. If you're on one end of them, there you go. Coming from both sides. Corrosive Isles landing. It's hard to dodge when Zerglings are surrounding your entire army. And suddenly, it looks like Reynor's army is getting just obliterated and surrounded here. Reinforcing Zerglings are coming in from Reynor to try to save his guys. And he does. He does actually. The reinforcements managed to save the day there. Solar went for the kill. Couldn't quite pull it off. And suddenly, Reynor is up, man. 60 to 26 army supply. He traded exceptionally well there. Resources lost 5,000 for Solar, 3,000 for Reynor. And good game. Reynor does take game number 1 here. For a second, it was really touch and go. It was really touch and go up here. He got a full surround with the Lings. He had the Roaches and the Ravagers hitting away here there too. Corrosive Isles were landing on Reynor's stuff. But he had so much producing. Again, better income on 2 bases than Solar had on 3 bases. I think Solar was cutting workers. It is 38 to 41, but man, that seems like that's only 3 drones. And look how much the difference is. I guess it's only 150, so sure. Sure, it wasn't a massive difference. But at the end of the day, again, the upgrades were a big deal, right? We're looking at the +1 missile attack that Reynor has that Solar does not have. Upgrades are everything in mirror matchups, especially in ZVZ. And yeah, Solar went for it, couldn't quite pull it off, and did not have enough to deal with the counterattack by any stretch. He knew it. He only had 400 minerals. He only had 2 larvae remaining, and about 500 minerals here. So that's a lot of Zerglings. But again, not many roaches with the amount of gas that he's got. So rough deal of it for game number 1. Let's move on to game number 2 here, and we'll see how Solar does on this one. Stick with it. We'll be right back. Game 2's on Eternal Empire. Top right, Solar. Bottom left, Reynor. Quick plug for the podcast. It is the Falcon Paladin Hour. It is with myself and Samacron as we talk about nerdy things in culture, including movies, TV shows, books, video games, of course, obviously, and yeah, you should check it out. Go ahead and search Falcon Paladin on your podcast app, no matter what it is, no matter what platform, no matter which OS, and you will find us. We're also on Spotify. If you like listening to podcasts on Spotify, just search Falcon Paladin, and you'll find us there as well. Alrighty then. What are we doing here in game numero 2 por le StarCraft 2? Yes, yes. Reynor going for a 16 hatch. Rooney, Solar doing the exact same thing on the other side. This is pretty standard stuff. A 16 hatch will keep you alive in most situations. In a ZVZ, you do have to worry about the 12 pool on certain maps, especially that have really short rush distances. Eternal Empire, decently long rush distance. A 12 pool with lings are going to show up at a certain point in time depending how far away you are from your enemy. On this map, it's not so much something to worry about, but on some of the smaller maps, like Submarine, for example, in the current map pool, yes, you want to worry about that. And maybe go for a pool first play yourself in a ZVZ on that smaller map. An extractor pool at about 16-15 will do wonders against a 12 pool. You'll be able to get your lings out in time to defend if you go for the expansion at about 16 after that. You got your own lings out to defend. You have a better economy than your opponent does because your pool was later. And that is kind of the paper, rock, scissors setup of ZVZ, is getting your pool a little bit later than your opponent means you have an advantage. Of course, these guys are doing the darn near same exact thing. So there is no advantage to be had here. They're going for the exact same build, and nobody's worried about early aggression from the other one. It is risky. Because again, you go for the early aggression, your opponent holds it well because their build doesn't auto-lose to it, and then suddenly you're behind, and then you're going to lose the game. So they'd rather just play it standard. ZVZ sometimes can be a little bit, a little less crazy than some people believe it always is. Especially at these higher levels where everybody knows what they're doing. So a couple lings moving out, just trying to see what's what here. Overlord from Reynor sees the timing on the hatch, sees a drone moving out from Solar and says, that another quick third base from you? It worked out for Solar in game number 1. Reynor was fully unable to punish it at all. And as a result, bam. Oh, I just realized if you guys are red-green colorblind, this is a terrible setup for y'all. It's a mirror matchup with red and green. I apologize if that's the case. I mean, I guess for a while, just positionally, you can tell who is who, right? But for engagements in the middle of the map and battles in general, it's going to be really hard to tell what's going on. God, that's terrible. I'll do my best. I'll do my best to help you out with that. How about that? Our Baneling Nest from Reynor. We didn't see a Baneling Nest from either player at all in game number 1, and today we get Banelings. Fair enough indeed. Banelings are often used defensively in ZVZ, especially if they're made at this stage of the game. A Baneling Nest at like 3 minutes is way different from a Baneling Nest at like 2. This is just, we're going to make a couple Banelings for defense in case a Ling Flood shows up and tries to murder us. We'll have some Banelings to dissuade that from happening. In the meantime, we're going to macro up. We're going to get our own third base here. Yeah, see, one Baneling being made back home just to defend this third base. He is worried about it getting Ling Flooded. Look at this Queen ready to go with enough energy for an inject. Hot. Hot stuff there, Queen. Nailing it. Okay, so who's ahead? 34 to 36 workers. Reynor has a couple more workers than Solar does. Probably going to transfer some of his drones. Just use them for a Roach Warren. The Roach Warren timing is earlier for Reynor here. And a lair. Okay. All right. Probably just for Roach speed. You do want the lair in that situation. And Roaches that are slow, again, just anything they can get a speed upgrade for all that is holy. Get the speed upgrade for it. And if it's behind a lair, like behind lair tech, then by all means do it. Reynor's scout is much more successful. Getting in, sees no lair timing, sees no Roach Warren, sees nothing of the sort. Actually sees this Roach Warren. Actually sees the lair at the natural base too. Never mind. He sees we're pretty much doing the same thing. So nothing to worry about. Nobody's going for a crazy 2-base all-in. Nobody's making a bunch of Roaches right now because that Roach Warren was not done at the time. And both players just really droning their faces off. It's 5 drones at a time for Solar, 3 drones at a time from Reynor. The scouting is pretty much non-existent for Solar at this point. But I mean, what do you expect, honestly, as Roach speed gets started from Reynor? Because that's what we were talking about. Yar, we made it. Wow, that's a lot of extractors from Solar. But Reynor's doing the same thing. He's got, dang, all but one of his extractors. Solar is pumping on all 6 of them that are available to him right now, as these ones are about to come up. So he needs Spire. Okay, so yes, if you're going to go for a Spire, which the Zergling did scout. Yep, Reynor saw the Spire. That's a great scout. And he's going for the Nidus. Okay, he knows there's a window here where a lot of resources are being saved up from Mutalisks. So the Roach count is not going to be super high. So what you do is you toss down a Nidus network and make a bunch of Roaches, and then you try to Nidus and kill your opponent before the Mutas come out at all. And it's a very, very narrow window, but I like it for Reynor here. I like his ability to get this thing done. This is going to be tight. This is going to be really, really tight here. Zerglings cruising into the third base. Oh no! Solar's going to snipe the Nidus network. Holy, look at the drones getting pulled to try to save it. Oh my gosh, he sniped the Nidus network. That's huge for Solar. Oh my gosh, that was so good. Meanwhile, some of his roaches are just moving across the map just for the heck of it. Gonna try to kill a bunch of... Ooh, 6 drones go down and some flash damage on that spine to finish it off. So Reynor's like, fine, you want to kill my Nidus? Great. You have 11 mutas on the way. I'm just going to try to kill you straight up right now by walking across the map. Niduses are for chumps anyway. So 3 spines got put up here by Solar to try to defend against this. The roaches pulling back. Just pulling back, and now the mutas are here. Now the roaches are on a bit of a timer. They got to kill as much as they can before the mutas murder all of them. Where's the... Here we go. So Nidus coming up here. That is in view of Solar. And the third base goes down, though. So Solar knows there's Nidus coming up. There's going to be queens here. Can he save it before it pops and the queens pop out? Yeah. 1 queen transfused. Ooh, back inside the Nidus, too. I'm not sure. He only had 2 queens. That is not enough queens to deal with this many Mutalisks. This is a big number. So we're looking at mutas versus roaches. The official argument that I have sometimes with players is who wins in this situation. I have definitely lost in this situation as the Mutalisk player versus roaches. I've definitely won as well. It's a bit of a black magic situation to me. We'll see how this works out. Bit of a Ling run by from Solar. He finally gets inside the house. Drones have to fight for their own lives and actually do pretty well for themselves. I don't think many drones went down there at all. 2 drones have been killed for Reynor at this point. All right, so third base is being replanted. That Overseer is just trying to get away from the mutas as fast as he can. And no, I think he's going to die anyway. Fare thee well, Overseer. You did some good oversight for Reynor. Reynor's getting tunneling claws and burrow. So he's going to go for some burrow shenanigans against these mutas. Meanwhile, spores are on the way because, by golly, going about 3 spores per base when there are this number of mutas out. It's a goodly number. 18 mutas is so big a number of mutalisks. But if you have queen support and spore support and some good transfuses, the mutas do not even want to touch that stuff. See, look, spore. You have a 3rd spore here at the natural? I'm a little bit worried about this, to be honest. Just the 2. But I guess the queens are in the neighborhood. They can defend if necessary. And just the 2 in the main as well. I guess the mutas don't want to come back to these areas all that much because there is the risk of getting trapped. It's a little bit more risky there, obviously. So Reynor's at 65 workers. Really needs to try to take a 4th base. But at this stage with the Mutalisks cruising around, it's going to be very, very hard for him to do so. The mutas are pretty much in denial mode at the moment. Sniping overlords. He's got full map control. These roaches from Reynor did manage to sneak around the southern side of the map and get up here before the mutas knew what was what. So they do snipe the roach warren. And they can stop that +2 melee attack if they want as well. But where are they? Oh, there's the burrow. Oh my gosh. Did he not bring... No, the detection, though. This used to be a lot more popular, and then they nerfed the regen on the burrow for the roaches. So they don't regen as fast when they are under the ground, but this is still pretty annoying to deal with as Zerg. Solar. He's got his 3rd base back, and his 4th base is dead, though, thanks to these roaches. Man, being everywhere at once is so good. Look, you kill it, and then the mutas show up, and you burrow and you run away. Shook. Ta-da! This is such a good magic trick. Roaches are still in the main killing stuff. 12 drones have gone down. This is the most annoying aspect of ZVZ, I think, for professional players, is dealing with these annoying little roach burrows in a million different places at once, popping up and killing stuff when you're busy dealing with another group over on the other side of the map. Finally, he's got an Overseer in the group, so he can deal with the roaches more easily. 4th base here. Did Reynor take the chance to get a 4th base of his own? No. No, he did not. It's more mutas on the way. More roaches on the way. We've got a Viper in production from Reynor. 4th base from Reynor. Finally getting started at 10 minutes, but you know what? He's not actually that far behind because he did kill Solar's 4th and his 3rd at one point, so that's nice. Oh, dude, some fungals with queens would be sick. Yeah, good. Spellcasters. Again, to deal with mass muta, you really can't do it with just regular attacking units. You need the Vipers. You need the Infestors. Spore Crawler does get sniped. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This number of mutas. Dude, the Overlord Massacre. He doesn't know what to kill. It's like, do I kill the Overlords? Do I... Baneling's rolling on through here. Solar doing some crazy stuff right now. Killing, oh, he's going for the hatchery. I really feel like killing these Overlords might be kind of amazing. Reynor having to spend another like 800 minerals on Overlords would be super annoying for him at this stage. What a good match this is. Game 2 is really good stuff. I was worried the whole series would be just like little 6-7 minute games, but no. We are moving into the 4-base stage. We might be moving into lurker status for Reynor with all these mutas flying about. Oh, there it is. Yeah, lurker coming in. Getting the upgrade for the range there for the lurkers. Excellent. Muy excelente. +2 flyer attack is done for Solar at this stage. Income is favoring Solar, creeping back towards Reynor's favor, though, as the 4th base is done, and he's got some drones transferring over there. So the problem for Solar here is that this is the best composition late game for ZVZ. Mutalisks are not. They're just not. There's too many good answers for them as higher tech units get out. As we see the Parasitic Bomb available, the Fungal available, there's a handful of Hydras. Just Hydras aren't going to do super well here. Does he know about these bullying? Oh, the Queen's back. Lurker Spines. And the Fungal does catch one of the mutas, and Overseer gets sniped down too. That's pretty good transfusing the infestors to keep them alive. Holy, where did these come from? Oh, he snuck them down to the south while all this was happening. Solar, you're sick. You're so good at this game. Look at this, Reynor. Happily mining. Blah, 23 drones go down. Just like that. Lurkers defending stuff, but not the 3rd base. And suddenly it's 51 workers for Reynor, and suddenly the mutas are jumping on top of your stuff here. Where are the spellcasters? They pulled back. They were worried about more baneling attacks, and suddenly 30 drones have gone down, and this is the income tab now. Solar's advantage, and increasing steadily here as well. Holy cannoli. Is Solar just going to go up 2-0 here? Solar's got the 12 o'clock base. He happily has that on lockdown right now. This is 32 banelings in production from Solar. All right. Seems like a reasonable number. You're going to come from the north and the south. He's going to try to catch the Hydras with the banelings so that the anti-air is not as good versus these mutas. But the lurkers, oh, nice fungal on the banelings. Slow motion banelings. How often do you see that? Oh, infestors all getting sniped down by the sling baneling attack. Nobody can stop and handle it because the Hydras are so weak to banelings. Well, 19 more drones go down. The 3rd hatch dies. Has Solar just done this? Has Solar just won game number 2 to tie the series up? It sure looks like he has. It's 172 to 118 total supply at the moment. Look at the supply, as Todd would say. More banelings coming in. I have not seen this before. I have not seen a mutiling baneling strategy do so well against someone who is going Hydra, Lurker, Viper with infestor support. I've never seen this work at all. But dude, Solar bossing it here right now. Catches another Parasitic Bomb to the face. Doesn't, there you go. Splits once he figures out what's going on. More Parasitic Bomb is available. The splits are not super good, actually. In fact, moderately bad. But how much more of this do you have? The Lurkers burrowing in as the banelings are exploding on roaches and getting spined, which is not what they want at all. Dude, there are a handful of Hydralisks here and no banelings at all. Okay, so the Lings all die to the Lurkers, but there's not enough anti-air anyway, and that's a good game. Solar ties it up in a really fantastic second game for ZVZ there. That was a ton of fun. That was so fantastic. What an absolutely massively good ZVZ there. Solar making it happen. He's like, hey, there is no optimal late game composition for ZVZ. I can do what I want. I can do what I want. I can lose my 3rd base. I can lose my 4th base and still be able to sneak banelings in here, wipe out Reynor's entire economy. Reynor's at 37 drones. He lost 60 drones in this game. 60 drones. All 3 of his investors died, as we saw in that engagement. Up here in this area, amazing. And then sniping the Nidus, I think, was massive. I think sniping the Nidus, because again, that window was short for Reynor to get in there before the mutas popped. Snipes the Nidus network. Nidus Worm kind of comes over here, doesn't do anything, and Reynor has to go for a regular across the map attack, which does, in fairness, kill the 3rd base, but it isn't enough to do much anything else. And then suddenly map control belongs to Solar. He's able to replace his 3rd and take a 4th. which again he loses but gets it back, takes a 5th. I mean, Solar had some major setbacks in this game, but kept fighting hard, and got the victory. What a boss. What a boss win that was. +2 attack for his flyers and for his ground units. This Baneling Southern Assault that Reynor did not see coming was massive. And then he pulls the whole army back to deal with it, and that makes him lose a ton of stuff here at the 4th base. Great series, man. I'm sad most people are going to watch this because people don't like ZBZ usually, but maybe because it's Reynor they will. Who knows? Let's find out. Let's find out how many views this gets together, shall we? All right, sweet. We'll be back with Game 3, tied up here in this best of 5. Don't go anywhere. Game 3, Nightshade, the Ladder Edition. Top left, Solar. Bottom right, Reynor. Hey, if you're watching this and you're like, how come Falcon doesn't cast StarCraft 2 as much anymore? That's because the algorithm is not showing you my casts. I cast StarCraft 2 and post games on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for StarCraft 2. So if you haven't seen 5 StarCraft 2 posts a week from me, that is because the YouTube algorithm does not like it. Does not like StarCraft 2 very much on my channel because Brood War is getting more attention, I feel like. So when I post a Brood War replay, it gets a lot of attention. And then when I post a StarCraft 2 replay, it gets less attention. So basically the algorithm says, Falcon Paladin viewers, they like Brood War a lot and StarCraft 2 less. So let's go ahead and show them Brood War and not show them StarCraft 2 because, why waste the time? So if you want StarCraft 2 cast from me, I'm pretty sure at this point you just need to go to youtube.com/FalconPaladin on those days. Again, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And just see the new StarCraft 2 stuff that's there. Just check it out. I promise it'll be worth your while. There's so much good stuff in here, and the numbers on my StarCraft 2 cast are dwindling immensely. And again, I think it's because the Brood War is taking off. Like, it's nothing StarCraft 2 is doing, I don't think. Anywho, hit that like button too. Leave me a comment. That helps with the algorithm. I read your comments. Every comment anyone has ever made on any of my videos at any point in the last 5 years I've been casting, I've read. Okay, so if you ever want to get my attention with something, that's not a bad way to do it. Honestly, I'm on reading the comments. Here's the thing. I'm not going to every video and refreshing to check for comments. The YouTube Studio has a comments page that shows me chronologically what the most recent comments on any of my videos are at any point. So I just go there. I just basically live there. I don't close that tab during the day. So leave me a comment. I'll toss you a heart. Even mean comments count towards the algorithm. So like if you have something mean to say, go ahead. I've been on the internet for some time. I can take angry comments and arguments and insults. I think better than the average person. Who knows? Anywho, this has really just been the same thing from games 1 and 2, honestly. 16 hatch, blah, 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 18, 17. Reynor's got some lings moving out. He doesn't have a Baneling nest, so he's not really doing much with it. He's going to try to harass the 3rd base. Ooh, he actually recognizing that Solar has taken an early 3rd base in the last couple of games. It's like, you know what, I'm going to punish that. But 4 lings versus 4 lings is just not enough to actually kill that 3rd. Although another couple pair of lings is coming in, but guess who's here? Queens. And Reynor has to get on out. He's going to get as much damage as he can to bruise up that hatchery, so it's easier to snipe later. Meanwhile, he's getting his own 3rd base, which is cool. But until anybody has speed, which nobody has at the moment. Dude, Reynor just made 14 lings. Reynor's flooding, man. And a Baneling nest. This is aggression. This is sheer aggression out of him. Reynor wants to win this thing now. And look, he's like, hey, don't pay attention to the lings cruising across the map. Pay attention to your 3rd base getting sniped. The control from Reynor here is sick, by the way. Defensive Banelings are coming up from Solar. He recognizes what's going on here. His overlords did see the flood. Did see the Baneling train, the Zergling train. Reynor really wants to get this 3rd, but at the same time, he can't while he's getting hit by enemy Zerglings and Queens and stuff. Is it? Yes, it's enough. Hatchery canceled before it dies. Smartly done by Solar. It was going down anyway. That's massive. That's so big. Is he making his own Banelings? Yes, he's making his own Banelings defensively because he's worried about this happening for Solar heading on down south. But his 3rd base is happy, man. He has a happy, happy 3rd base. He's hiding his lings up here, maybe trying to jump on top of this thing when Solar thinks it is safe to leave it alone, which really should be never at this point. Reynor's going to try to kill this thing over and over again if he can. So that's why we're... Oh, hang on. Hang on. Okay. More banelings coming up. Recognizing what's up. Dude, this is... Reynor is absolutely hardcore the aggressor here today. Solar is cutting workers too, but only because he has to stay alive. Like, it's okay. So we got Ling Bane. Here we go. It's a knife fight in a phone booth, as they often like to say. So here... Ooh, that was a huge baneling hit for Solar. Holy smokes. Reynor lost a ton of lings there, and that's it. His aggression is over. He... Without those lings, he's done. Oh, is Solar making a comeback here? He lost game 1, but he looked really good in the last game. He's looking really good here now, too. Sure, his third base got sniped, but that one baneling hit changed the game for sure. Reynor slowly creeping into the better economy situation, as again, he's mining from this third base, and Solar's third base is just now done. Again, the lings trying to snipe that third. No, says Solar. You shall not pass. Both players going right into missile attack, which says, obviously, we're going to make a bunch of roaches. Pretty good defensive baneling there from Reynor. Not bad. But yeah, roach roar coming in from both players. We get lairs at any point. The answer is we should. Did he just get... He got a ling into Solar's main. Man, Reynor. That is some disgusting control to get all the way out there. But he sees the lair timing on Solar. Ling's coming down to Reynor's third base. They're not going after the hatch, because there are better targets like drones to snipe down here. The Queen's in a great position to stay alive. Like, if you ever have lings running into one of your bases, stick your Queen between two mineral patches like this, and the enemy lings will be stupid generally and try to attack her front and never get that full surround that they otherwise would be able to get. Oh, you thought you were safe. Hold on. 3 drones down. That was some great reaction time from Reynor, though. Lings rolling into the third base of Solar, though. Failing exploding harmlessly there. I think that was one of Solar's, but the Queen defense is massively, massively good here from Solar. Yeah, these banelings, nobody's really gotten a great baneling hit other than the one on this ramp earlier. Whoa! He just canceled, I think those were spines based on the refund there. Yeah, he just canceled spines. He's not, he was for a second there worried about a big attack coming from Reynor, but now he's not. Which is totally fair because Reynor has 7 roaches. So he's not going to do a big attack with 7 roaches, I can tell you that much. He's making 8 more, in fairness. Ah, it's another Spire from Solar. Another Spire coming in. So we're going to see another game of Mutalisks versus Roaches. Seems like potentially what we're going for here anyway. Dun, dun. Should cast more ZVZs between great players. Like, the lower level you get, there are some pros whose ZVZ is all-ins all the time. But the higher you get, the less of that there is. When you get up to the Solar, Dark, Rogue, Serral, Reynor stage, that's where things get interesting in ZVZ, in my opinion. And this is what this has been. We haven't had any game end in 3 minutes because a Link Flood showed up and either failed or succeeded, right? So, fourth base from Solar coming up. Reynor doing the same thing on the other side. Here we go. Roach is cruising across from Reynor. Kinda. He's posturing at the very least. Roach count is currently 23 to 21 in favor of Solar. Both players are getting their +2 missile attack. Nobody has an advantage there in this battle. But speed is coming. Okay, so we get Roach speed from Reynor and Mutalisks from Solar. So if Solar has Mutas adding additional DPS to these Roach battles, he's going to be in a good spot. I kind of like it. I kind of like this. You got a bunch of Roaches, but also a handful of Mutalisks situation. Because Reynor doesn't want to really commit to Hydras all that much, because they're not great against Roach Ravager. And he doesn't want to get Infestors either, because that takes too long. So these Mutas, I think, are going to pretty much be unopposed. Oh, look at the Mutas. Oh, there was an attempted Roach drop over on the right side. No, that's not going to happen. 123 to 94 army supply in favor of Solar. Are you kidding right now? This is disgusting. And Reynor's in full retreat going home. These Roaches from Reynor are like, well, I guess we might as well try to save our mission. No, that's not happening. You'll kill a couple drones, sure. Look at, see these Roaches, man. The Roaches here from Solar are fighting. +2 attack is finishing. Oh, a little bit sooner for Solar. It looks like Muta's just picking off queens. Oh, you thought you got that one, but you didn't. See, look, the Mutas are in here. Okay, we'll go back and kill that queen. Now they're providing damage. against the opposing army. +2 is now done for Solar, and it's not done for Reynor. Tiny, oh, now it's done. That was a tiny, tiny, tiny window where Solar had an upgrade advantage that Reynor did not. Reynor, however, is going +1 Carapace. The Mutas providing additional DPS. Queen's continually getting sniped down by these Mutalisks, but we keep thinking he gets it and he pulls away. Solar and GG Solar does end up taking game number 3 there in 9.5 minutes because of the Mutalisks. I gotta say, it was the Mutas that were the difference there. 4 kills on that Mutalisk. Or I can't even 3 kills on that Mutalisk. I mean, they're definitely paying for themselves, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, 0 kills on that one, but a couple queens going down. It is 124 to 67 army supply, 32 roaches to 20, and even if this ground carapace upgrade comes in for Reynor, it's not enough. It's not enough just for the sheer numbers involved right now. So again, Solar, excuse me, able to have a better economy in general over the last 10 minutes or so, and get some Mutalisks out, and basically lose as many roaches as Reynor did. And have a bigger number of roaches at the end. It's really incredible what Solar's been able to squeak out of his economy here. Getting that 4th base up was massive. Reynor's 4th base is running, but took some hits early. And even though his 3rd base did get canceled, he was able to come back. Like, Solar's the comeback kid, man. It is so hard to come back from that kind of a situation in a ZVZ. But by golly, he has done it. He has done it twice now against one of the more terrifying Zerg players in the world right now. Reynor took 2nd place in BlizzCon last year, okay? So we're talking about Reynor is good, and Solar's just up 2-1. So let's keep going. How much more of this do we have? I don't know. Let's find out together. Stick with it. Don't leave the page. Reynor finds himself in a bit of a hole here for game number 4 on Everdream. Top right, Reynor. Bottom left, Solar. Their names are similar enough that I get them confused and I'm talking too fast, so I think you've noticed that, but if you haven't, then never mind. Alright, did you know I stream on Twitch? Twitch.tv/Falcon Paladin. It's a place where I stream StarCraft 2 games that I'm playing, mostly team games with Somicron and Fatty TV, and it's a lot of fun. Go ahead and head over to twitch.tv/Falcon Paladin. And you can watch me play things like X-Wing Alliance, which is the granddaddy of Star Wars Squadrons, which is coming out in October. I'm very excited for it because the last time a game like Squadrons was released, it was 1999. And the game was X-Wing Alliance, which I'm streaming over on Twitch. Oh yeah, and Halo as well. Just playing through the Halo Master Chief Collection as it releases on Steam. Co-op campaign with Somicron. It is a lot of fun. Holy smokes, you guys. So yeah, just follow me over there. It doesn't cost you anything. And for the 4th time today, identical builds from Reynor and Solar. At least opening builds here, right? Solar likes Mutalisks. Reynor likes Roaches. And today, Mutalisks are winning the day. And you know, as this is a best of 5, Reynor needs to win this, or he's going to get a 3-1 tier by Solar. Everdream is a pretty darn short rush distance. Yeah, it's really not that far at all. Basically, you're going to be out here anyway, right? And then you go boop, 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 and then you're at the opponent's front door. And this is one of those situations where we see players bring queens across the map to try to murder their opponents. It's nuts. Everdream's one of those maps. So, what are we doing? Is anybody going for a million Zerglings? No, but a couple Lings are on the way from Reynor, 4 of them. In particular, he wants to get that pressure up on Solar again. I bet he's kicking himself like, I was able to kill my opponent's 3rd base. I canceled his 3rd base. I kept mine alive the whole time, and he beat me anyway. That's just got to be driving him insane that happened. But he's focused. He's not going to lose his head. You don't make it to the finals of BlizzCon, like the finals of BlizzCon. The final 2 best players in the world at BlizzCon, if you lose your head in situations like that. Solar just going for that 233rd, man. He has, and look at that, Reynor's like, fine. When in Rome, do as the Romans do, and if you can't beat them, join them. So he's definitely doing exactly what Solar is here. He's getting that 3rd base early while sending some Lings across the map. This is so smart. I love this. Getting some early hits off. Solar anticipates it, so he's got his own Lings out here. And he made his Lings later, right? Because he didn't have to send them across the map. They're defensive, which means he has a bit of a better economy than you would expect otherwise. Anyway, both players are getting their Baneling nests, as again, it is a smaller map, and Baneling Zergling attacks can get across the map very, very quickly. And as a result, if you don't have any Banelings, you don't see it coming, you're just dead. So a Baneling nest is insurance here. I mean, he started that thing sub 3 minutes. So if you're in a ZVZ and you're worried about this kind of a thing, especially on one of the smaller maps, then definitely get yourself a Baneling nest, and you'll feel better about things for sure. Evolution Chamber on the way from Reynor. Might go for that +1 Carapace like we saw in game number 1. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it, though. This guy really wants to make an Evo. There we go. So Solar's getting an Evo, too. 1 defensive Baneling here for Solar, and 1 defensive Baneling here for Reynor. Yeah, I mean, this is just... This is everything, even across the board here. I would not be shocked to see a Spire come out for Solar, though, as soon as his lair is done. At the moment, though, nobody seems that intent on going for a lair. We're only about 3.5, 4 minutes into this thing regardless. A bunch of Lings are out here for Solar. Reynor's like, I don't really have a lot of defensive Zerglings. We'll make a couple more here just in case. And Solar does have the economic advantage here just by... No, it's actually even now. It was by 1 worker, and now it's even. That's how even this game is. Reynor's lair coming up here at about 4:15. Solar, no such thing. He's getting himself a Roach Warren, getting his double gas out. Yeah, man. If you're going double gas now, I mean, same story here for Reynor. It's good for Roaches. But if you start taking additional gas, then suddenly that's when you're looking at Mutalisks. They're so gas intensive, especially compared to Roaches. So a bit of engagement to the north, nothing much happened. I mean, has anybody lost anything in this game? They both lost about 3 Lings. I mean, it's really... Nobody's been that aggressive. Nobody's made any huge mistakes so far in the first 5 minutes of the 4th game. But that's kind of what it comes down to in ZVZ, is you make a big mistake, bam, you are dead, because units are so fast. Or units are up on your army regardless. And up in your grill, and then you die. I mean, Solar Spire is coming along quite nicely as well. He's getting his... Man, he is taking all the gas, isn't he? Taking all the gas. He's going Mutalisk again. There's no reason to take all of this gas. And you know what? Reynor's doing the same thing. I would not be shocked to see a Spire from him at some point here either. I'm going to watch that production tab like a hawk. Even as Zerglings continue dancing around, trying to get information. Trying to pick off queens here and there, individual drones, just any little advantage you can get here. This is a really close matchup. Both players going for Glial Reconstitution. 10 Lings on the way from Reynor. Both players going for +1 missile attack, and it is ahead for Reynor as it finishes up here because his Evolution Chamber was faster. So he has a bit of an advantage. Overseer comes in, sees Evolution Chamber, Spores coming up. Solar's expecting Mutalisks from Reynor, although not making a Spire at all. Nobody is. I'm looking at that production tab as closely as I can. I don't see a Spire anywhere. Bit of an attempt to take down Solar's 4th base, with a bunch of Lings here, but enough defensive Lings and Banelings are here that it's not going to happen very well. Thought about darting into the 3rd base, but decided not to get trapped in there with Banelings on his tail, so it's all good. Yeah, both players scouting out. Both players getting Spores in a situation where nobody's getting a Spire. This is fantastic. Both players are entirely anticipating Mutalisks. They are, and nobody's doing it. Nobody's doing it at all. What's our Roach count at? Roach count 2020. It's 11 to 9 Roaches. Reynor has a tiny, tiny advantage. 4th base coming up from Reynor. They are virtually the same time on these expansions. Both players going for +2 missile attack and +1 ground carapace. This is probably the most even of the 2 games through the first 7 minutes that we've seen. Nobody's made a huge mistake. Both players are effectively doing the same thing. I love that both players prepared for Mutalisks, and then they're not coming at all. I mean, they didn't super prepare. They have a Spore at each base, just in case. I mean, it helps trying to kill Overseers, too, if they're dumb enough to fly over a Spore, but generally not the case. There we go. Baneling drops here from Solar. Loving this stuff. So Baneling drops are trying to sneak on into the main base of Reynor, but that was scouted fully, man, wasn't it? Maybe it wasn't. Is Reynor not...
Our forces are under
He doesn't know about this. He's worried about this Ling versus Ling action on the other side, and the Banelings are waddling to his natural base, and this Queen's like, hey, wait, what is happening? Oh, good pull. Great pull from Reynor, though. That is sick. So how many... I mean, 3, 4 drones. That's not even worth the Banelings, man. I mean, I understand you're hurting your opponent's economy, but, like, that's a lot of resources you just lost, too. Banelings are one of those units that are always suicide, man. They're always kamikaze every time. So even if they get great hits, they're dead. So it's the one thing that balances them. Otherwise, they'd be insanely good. All right, I mean, they're still insanely good, but here we go. We haven't really seen a true Roach Ravager Corrosive Bile battle in this series, have we? Not really, not like this, where both players are just going Roach Ravager. It is 114 to 116 army supply. It is close as close can be. And the upgrade advantage does favor Reynor right now. He's getting Tunneling Claws and Burrow. So sneaky stuff again out of Reynor. We've seen him do this before in the series. Corrosive Biles on the Ravager eggs, canceling them. That's brilliant. That's such a great play out of Solar here. And this, I'm going to be honest, this might be my least favorite aspect of ZVZ is the Roach Ravager battles, because, like, nothing dies fast enough for it to be really exciting for me. And Corrosive Bile dodging is so easy because it takes so long to land, and there's the visual indicator. I mean, I know they're never going to buff Zerg anytime soon because Cyril and Reynor are so good at this game. Which, quick theory, GSL is by no means dominated by Zerg. The GSL Season 1 was a TVT Finals. And GSL Season 2 has, like, 1 Zerg in there so far for the playoff. I mean, at max, there could be 3 Zergs in there for the playoff. Meanwhile, a bit of a Roach counterattack here from Reynor, getting into the main base, getting into the natural base, engagement at the front going pretty well for both players, I would say. Yeah, look at these Roaches being super duper annoying. Really going after this economy pretty heavily. 7, 8, 10 drones, 11 drones down. And then he burrows. Oh, that's so sick. That is such a great move right now. And yes, Solar has a bit of a larger army here. Does Reynor believe that? I don't know. Oh, Corrosive Bile hits are real. So yeah, my quick tangent about Zerg maybe not being overpowered. Maybe it's just Cyril and Reynor that are overpowered. Those two Zergs are disgustingly good at StarCraft. I'm not sure that the rest of the Korean Zergs are that good compared to their counterparts right now. 24 drones down. I think Reynor just needs to survive and he wins this game, which is easy for him to do because he's on this side of the map. Like, if Solar's army was at his front door, then suddenly maybe that's a problem. But Solar's economy is in the toilet. Reynor is killing it with this little Burrow Roach counterattack that Solar was not ready for by any stretch. Reynor trying to push the issue. Solar feels like he's got it, man. He is jumping on top of these units. The upgrade advantage is nobody has it right now. Although, look at Reynor. Reynor just crushing through it. Good game. Reynor does force the game. Number 5, as I put a 5 down on Solar's number. No, 2. 2-2 here after 4 games. Beautiful ZVZ so far. A lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, what it came down to was this. The little Roach run by into the natural base and into the main base. And at the third base as well. Killing 36 drones. 36 drones. And then Reynor just had enough to hold. He was at the front door of Solar, obviously. So he's microing here while he's microing back here. And he just did a better job with it. So what I'm talking about. Reynor and Cyril are sick. They are so good at this game. So anyway, back to what I was talking about. They're not going to buff Zerg, right? Because Zergs are looking fine. But I would not mind if Corrosive Bile landed a little bit sooner. Or maybe you get rid of the visual indicator of where it's going to hit. I don't know. I guess everything that does splash damage has some kind of a visual indicator, with the exception of tanks. Although even there, you can see the range of where it can fire before it hits you, right? There's that little circle of range there. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe they're like, anything that does splash damage, if it's ranged splash, right? Banelings, whatever. You see them coming. They're not going to appear out of nowhere. But like Widow Mines, you have the visual indicator. Liberators, you have the circle, the indicator. It's not doing splash damage, but you know what I mean. Big time damage. I don't know. I wouldn't mind. I feel like the percentage of Corrosive Biles that are dodged in professional StarCraft games is like 98%. It's really more of a zoning technique than anything else. Although it's really good against buildings, in fairness, but they can't dodge anyway. So making it hit faster and sooner is not going to affect the buildings, right? Right. All right, let's move into game number 5. We have not had a game 5 on the channel in some time. I am excited for this. I hope you are too. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe so far if you're enjoying it. We'll be back in just a minute. Game 5 here on Zen. A weird map that spawns weird games. Bottom left, Solar. Top left, Reynor. Top right, Reynor. There are some maps where bottom left and top left are spawn positions, but this is not one. Yeah, I'm been enjoying this series, you guys. I hope you have too. Let me know again in a comment if you've been enjoying it. Because, man, ZVZ can be fun. Not all the time. But it certainly can. I want to see an early pool here, but it's too early or too late for a 12 pool at this point. Aww, too late for a 12 pool. That would be so amazing. Game 5, bust out a 12 pool when there hasn't been one all series from either player. Man, that was simultaneous hatcheries. Simultaneous hatcheries going down here between these two players. What else could we talk about here? There's a thing. I guess just remember I'm constantly casting StarCraft 2. Like, don't think I've abandoned you for a Brood War, because that's not the case at all. I've been posting so much of both. It's probably not healthy for me how much I'm posting on my channel, and maybe that's a problem too, as I'm overwhelming people with the amount of content that I'm putting out, but I don't know, man. I mean, look at my channel and make some hard decisions. I need like a counselor, a YouTube expert to help me with this stuff. Regardless. What have I been doing recently? I watched It Invaded. It's an anime that came out earlier this year in January. Season 1 is this year. Really good. It's on Hulu if you're interested in watching that stuff in America. Anyway, I'm sure there's other places you can stream it outside of the country. What else? I've read Peace Talks, the latest book in the Dresden Files series I've been waiting like 6 years for. Good stuff, man. It is definitely a part 1. And part 2 is Battleground in September. So, like, if you're expecting to read Peace Talks and get a fully cohesive story with a satisfying ending, no. That's not what this is. It is definitely 2 books split into 2. Well, 1 story split into 2. 2 books split into 2 is kind of obvious. Anyway, recommend it. If you haven't read the Dresden Files, check them out. The first 3 books are okay. He really kind of starts to round into form of who he is as an author, Jim Butcher, around books 4 and 5. But still, really fun stuff regardless. I'm going to, I guess, spoiled something in the sense of getting you interested in reading this, but there's a scene where Dresden, the main character of the series, he's a wizard, he rides a reanimated Tyrannosaurus Rex through downtown Chicago to stop a bunch of necromancers from killing everyone. That's what the Dresden Files is, basically. It's a ton of fun. Alright, so again, Ling's hacking away at that third base, as has been tradition the whole day here. Reynor's third base is coming up too. Might have Solar's number. He might have figured out how to do this thing. Both players getting their Baneling nests, sub 3 minutes. Solar's is a little bit earlier. Looks like we're moving into roaches based on the timings here. Wall off a little bit here with an evolution chamber, and same thing happening over this way except at the front door. So they just swapped their buildings as to what they're walling off with. It's just personal preference as far as this map is concerned. Zergling's trying to cruise on up and maybe shut down this third base of Reynor's. He's got a handful of stuff and a Baneling that's finishing up almost now, though, and Solar decides not to take his chances. He's going to back on out. I feel like this dude's going to become a Baneling, though. Hey, buddy. He's hiding. He's checking for a quick 4th that Reynor might want to go for. Dunno. Ling's cruising across here from Reynor. Again, none of these games have been over in 2 minutes, which is great. It's good for ZVZ. The longer it goes on, the more interesting it is, in my personal opinion. Although, again, I have cast CVZs that are just interminable roach versus roach battles that seem to never end and last for 10 minutes, and I don't like those. But if you're doing a counterattack of roaches while you're roach versus ravager battling, heck yes, I'm on board with all of that stuff. That is exactly what Reynor did to force this game number 5. Both players going for a lair. Again, Reynor's is sooner. He's been a little bit more gung-ho on that lair timing. And it's helped him with some upgrades, right? It's helped him get Glial Reconstitution out quickly. It's helped him get missile attacks and carapace and whatnot out quickly as well. So yeah, both players going for the Roach War and just playing so safe. They are so safe right now in this setup. And never mind, Reynor's getting a Spire. Okay. So, oh, did that Ling scout it? Did it scout it? Oh, it scouted the Spire. I bet Reynor's like, did he see that? Did he see the Spire? I don't know. This might be a reversal of game 2, I think it was. Where Solar went for the Spire, Reynor went for the Nidus. And didn't get it off. Ah, Solar's like, you know what? I'll just make my own Spire. We'll get some Mutalisk versus Mutalisk action here. Do you guys know that ZVZ and Heart of the Swarm for a long time was literally just everybody went Mutalisks the whole game, and it was Muta versus Muta every single ZVZ for all time, and there was no variety in compositions at all? Yep. And then Blizzard made their best balanced decision of all time and made Spore Crawlers do bonus damage to biological units. It didn't affect any other matchups, just CVZ. But it got rid of the Muta versus Muta battles being in every match. Because you could actually defend against them. Because Spore Crawlers were a useful and consistently good defense against Mutas. Before that, not really. They weren't really... there's not much you could do otherwise other than just go Mutas. Bit of history there. Corruptors? What the heck? Reynor's making 7 Corruptors. Like, some Corruptors mixed in with your Mutalisks, I understand. But just 8 Corruptors right now. I almost feel like he's trying to go for Broodlords or something insane. I don't know. Alright, so Reynor tried to take a 4th base. No, canceled. Solar's 4th base is totally happy. All those Zerglings are cruising across the map to try to deal with those, too. Bunch of Roaches moving out from Reynor. Solar losing a couple Lings, unfortunately for them. And defensive Lings popping up to try to save the 4th base. So yeah, Reynor's going Roach Corruptor here, which again, sure. They can deal with the Mutas if the Mutas want to stick around. They can also kill Overlords really easily if you want to try to supply block your opponent. Wow, so we've got a bunch of Mutalisks out for Solar and a bunch of Corruptors out for Reynor. Let's see whose ideological decision-making here is better. So Overlord's getting sniped off. Muta's taking serious hits, but not before they snipe down the Banelings. And then the Lings are getting on top of the Roaches here. This is amazing stuff. The Muta's actually trading fairly well. They can focus down individual Corruptors more easily than the Corruptors can focus down individual Mutalisks. But now problems are happening. Everybody is dead over here for Reynor on the low ground. Bunch of these Mutalisks are injured for Solar, and he does pull back for that tissue regeneration, which again is another benefit for Mutalisks, is when they're out of combat, they regen their health very quickly. Not that they've had much time to stay out of combat here at all. This is really snowballing in Solar's favor right now, I feel like, though. The Corruptors are just not trading well, I don't think. Maybe there are just too many Mutalisks. Look at these Mutas just making sure the Roaches don't get anything done here at all while fighting off the Corruptors. They're faster than the Corruptors are. The Corruptors can't run away. And the Mutas can flee from the Corruptors. Again, Corruptor's a good unit, but in some situations, they're pretty bad. Oh, look at this. Another free Corruptor here. A little bit sloppy there from Reynor. Income definitely favoring Solar at this point. His 4th base is running, and Reynor's 4th base just now is popping. Just now. The Muta count is going to get out of control. This is 19 already with 3 more on the way. The Roaches can't get anything done. This handful of Corruptors, there's only 6 of them. They're outnumbered like 3 to 1. Reynor's on the back foot. It looks like Solar may actually end up taking this. He can't do anything at his 4th base. He's going to get supply blocked if he's not careful. He's already basically supply blocked at 130 to 136 supply. He can't save these drones at all. The Roaches are trying to do it. They're coming down, but 5 drones get sniped. No big deal. The control here by Solar is really good. Just individually sniping Corruptors down while Queen's trying to do what they can, but Muta damage versus Queen is pretty good. 5 drones die. The Lings all get out of here. The Roaches feel like they can't move across the map because the Mutaflock is too big. And by golly, it is. There's 22 of them with 5 more on the way. This extra gas that he's got at the 4th base is massive right now. It's massive. It's 155 to 125 supply. Look at the supply. The 4th base is down. I don't know how Reynor comes back from this. This is snowballed out of control. It's 88 to 72 army supply. The Roaches are trying to run across the map and kill this 4th base. But guess who found them? The giant Mutaflock with Lings to provide additional DPS. They're desperately trying to kill as many drones as they can. But no, 3 drones go down for like 8 Roaches. The trades are not good. They are really bad for Reynor right now. I don't know about going Corruptor here. I really don't. how are the upgrades, too? Yeah, it's +1 flyer attack. The roaches don't have any upgrades at all. Or the corruptors, rather. The roaches do. Look at these mutas. They're just jumping on in there. They don't want to engage with the corruptors where there are spores. They got to stay back from that. That's why they're hanging out in this area. But Queen's getting sniped. Ling's jumping onto that third base. Not happening very well for them. Corruptors overstaying a little bit here. Again, got to get back to those spores. Got to avoid taking damage from the spores. And this is... Solar is just keeping Reynor on the back foot. And that's your good game. Solar ends up taking an incredible ZVZ series, 3-2, like a total boss, and taking down again the world runner-up in Reynor. He's not, no, he's not invincible. He's not invulnerable, and I really do feel like Reynor, his best play, his best play, not that he's not good otherwise, is versus Serral. He just has Serral figured out, man. Like, spoiler alert, he beats Serral a lot when they can match up head-to-head, but I feel like that means he's a little bit weaker versus, like, everybody else. Again, still very good. Still very good. Still enough to take Solar to 5 games for sure. Still good enough, again, to make it to the global finals. The finals. The last 2 players on Earth. So he's still that good. But it's just, he kind of got embarrassed by Dark in the global finals last year. Which, if you've made it that far, I mean, losing 4-1 is not a huge deal, but he looked totally lost against Dark there. And it just makes me wonder how much time he spent researching Serral, so maybe he's weaker versus everybody else, you know? Don't you know? Yeah, it really seemed like the Corruptor play was just not the answer here. 25 Corruptors died, 28 Mutalisks went down. At the end of the day, it's 24 Mutas and 5 Corruptors, and the fact that Solar was able to hang on to his 4th base while Reynor could not, that was it. It was over at that point. So, great series. Really fantastically fun series. I hope you enjoyed it, but that is going to be it from me today. So, this has been Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.